Nuu-wee-ya Mini-series, Episode 1, created by the Coquille Indian Tribe Language Program. Jilla, she gusha JC. She nut washnuk date on Nuu-wee-ya. He won shusrachan. My name is JC, and I'm happy to teach you about the northern dialect of Nuu-wee-ya, often called Athabaskan at the Coquille Indian Tribe, but also called Upper Coquille and Tututni, among other names. The reason for so many names is that the northern dialect has many subvarieties that reflect particular villages. Nuu-wee-ya means our language and refers to 3 different dialects. This mini-series episodes are designed to cycle through 5 different topics. These topics are chit-chat, family, daily routine, nature, and culture. Each mini-series will have 5 segments: alphabet and numbers, topic-related vocabulary, language revitalization tips, a listening opportunity, and a cool grammar fact. Repetition is an important part of language learning, so we will be sure to repeat the alphabet and numbers every episode. We will start with our animal alphabet list each week and then go straight into numbers. Chetarene mastretu, animal alphabet in Nuu-wee-ya. Anagale, anagale, grasshopper. Buntness, buntness, dragonfly. Chanagali, chanagali, deer. Chushki, chushki, butterfly. Diju, diju, cougar. Eliche, eliche, salamander. Gishche, gishche, jay. Ruchu, ruchu, walrus. Hepmu, hepmu, dove. Iran, Iran, beetle. Sigulje, sigulje, chipmunk. Qasras, qasras, crab. Quasnines, quasnines, swan. Lulashle, lulashle, snipe. Tluke, tluke, salmon. Mesquite, mesquite, seagull. Galum, galum, crawdad. Nautilje, nautilje, otter. Bunt, bunt, housefly. Sistalichu, sistalichu, owl. Shullus, shullus, squirrel. Srakul, srakul, beaver. Tequalishle, tequalishle, mink. Tarush, tarush, snake. Tlechashe, tlechashe, bat. Us, us, flicker. T'antel, t'antel, turtle. Una, una, mole. Aswali, aswali, snail. Welontok, welontok, sapsucker. Chachu, chachu, goose. Yashilye, yashilye, nighthawk. He-oisha, he-oisha, the end. Trush-talk, trush-talk. Numbers. Sla-sha, sla-sha, 1. Nahi, nahi, 2. Tage, tage, 3. Dunchi, dunchi, 4. Shwala, shwala, 5. Quastane, quastane, 6. Shtutde, shtutde, 7. Nauchundu, nauchundu, 8. Tlandu, tlandu, 9. Washe, washe, 10. Tlani, tlani, many. Phew, those numbers and letters were sure fun. Well, let's move on to our words. The topic of this episode is chit-chat, and we're focusing on greetings with a few other helpful words. I'll say each word twice in Nuu-wee-ya and then once in English. Jala, jala, hello. Dana khunnashi, dana khunnashi, hello, literally saying a living person. Shtanayu, shtanayu, to my people, a way to address a crowd of your own people. Shishtana kokwelnishli, shishtana kokwelnishli, my people are Coquille. And you can put any sort of people in there for Coquille. Like, for instance, I would say Shishtana Chasta Costa Nishli. Shuhanili, Shuhanili, are you good? Yes. Do, no. Kuspe sasta, Kuspe sasta. I live in Kuspe. Now again, you can put any place for where you live. I would say Eugene sasta. I live in Eugene. Here are a few more words for this week. Delagushi, Delagushi. What's your name? Shigusha JC. Shigusha JC. My name is JC. Now, of course, you'd put your name in there. Shuashila, Shuashila. Thank you. Shuanishla, Shuanishla. You're welcome. Humchi, Humchi. Bye. Ashtu, Ashtu. Later. Now, it's time for language revitalization tips. Bringing a language back from not being spoken is a challenging and sometimes emotional process. In this section, we will discuss tips for making language use easier. What is language revitalization? Well, it's a concerted effort to increase language use of a minority language. A component of language revitalization is that it can't exist without there being language loss. Language loss usually comes because of social inequities. Some communities have lost all intergenerational transmission of language and do not have speakers who ever spoke the language fluently. This is often called a sleeping language. How can one wake a sleeping language? Simple, through language use. Well, maybe not so simple, because managing to use a language after it has stopped being spoken is quite an endeavor. But this leads us to my first language revitalization tip for this mini-series, and that is to view all and any language use as the miracle that it truly is. It is amazing and miraculous that language is used at all after such social atrocities that led to language decline. Anytime you use even one word of tribal language, it's a step in reversing language loss and helps heal the wounds caused by those social atrocities. Any use is proof to yourself and any who may hear you that your language is alive. We awaken our language with our breath and voice. Any use of your language is proof that we, as Native people, are still here. Anjanatal. That means we are still here. Literally, it means we are still moving around in this area. Kind of fun. My second tip is to be very broad in your definition of language use, because really any use is breathing life back into language. Use could mean counting the dishes you wash. It could mean making songs. That's how I learned language at first, making and singing songs. It could mean learning one word and using it on a regular basis, and then learning a second word. It could mean incorporating words into art. Language use is whatever you make it. There's no wrong way for you to use your language. Now it's time for a listening opportunity. I will spend a little time in each episode of these mini-series using language without English. This section might be a commentary, a story, or a song. While there will be no spoken English, it will contain subtitles. As mentioned before, repetition is important when learning a language. Listening is important too. This section provides you with an opportunity to hear language, and every time you do, it gets your mind and your heart a little more accustomed to the language. So, das listen. Tladan, siskren machu, na rish yala. Stas, na sishtal. Miski doni chu, na sishtal. He siskren machu, shishmana in katansta. Nasishya, what mina charilches. Hot done, chayutre resishi. Strun narala. Du ha nasia. Tala nasire. Ha suskat de rattal. Jala, she ashjan. Dana huanash he ajan. Dakila anida, you dasit khat. Shu ashjan. Nanchu, shu hanili, chayutre ajan. De la rushi, you dasit khat. O shigusha sule ashjan. He chayutre, he sragla. Ajan, nan ushtit, na srisht mine chugusha, ashjan. He chayutre ajan, Nuu-me-se-ni-ri-li. Nta, da kila anida, yu da sit chet. Hishu ashjan, tahwidan nadolnish. Adu he nadolnish natal. De la iltsri, chayut yu da sit chet. He talkas ashjan. Hot done, u da sishchet. Kluk an natal ha? Chayut ajan. Nashtal. Dat la sta. U da sishchet. Kluk en rash ashle. Shu chi ajan. Ji manal ki huna mahu sasta. Shu ashila ajan. Shu aneshla ashjan. Ashtu ashjan. Humchi ajan. The last component of each episode is a presentation of a cool grammatical element of the language. If you don't like grammar, there's no need to watch it, but grammar's cool because it shows us what's unique about our language. So I encourage you to watch it and learn something cool. For this week's cool grammar thing, we're going to talk about asking yes/no questions. In English, how do we express questions? Well, when we write, we use a question mark. But how about when we speak? We have question words like where, what, when, and so on. We also shift words around, like saying, "Are you hungry?" instead of "You are hungry." We also change the intonation or melody of a phrase to express a question. That means that when we ask a question, our voice becomes high-pitched at the end of the question. Going back to asking if someone is hungry, you can say, "Are you hungry?" Notice my voice got higher pitched, but you can also just say, "Hungry?" and make the end of the word higher pitched than the start, and whoever you're talking to knows you're asking a question. Nuu-wee-ya has question words like the English where, what, when, how, why words, which we'll get to eventually, but there's another way to ask a question. If you say a sentence without the question words, you can put a ha after whatever part you're asking about. To say you are hungry, you say te sigas. But if you want to ask, are you hungry? You say te sigas ha. Notice my voice didn't rise at the end of that phrase. Te sigas ha. Te sigas ha. That's because in our language, we don't need to raise the pitch to indicate that it's a question because we have that cool little ha thing. I really admire this little ha because you can tag it on to any part of the phrase. If you want to say I ate, you say cha kesishya. If you want to ask, did you eat? You would say cha kesiya ha. But if you knew someone ate something and you wanted to ask if they ate a particular thing like meat, which is sunt, you would say sunt ha chesiya. Pretty cool. I also like this ha because it's kind of like huh in English. I've noticed that with my kids, I will say something like, did you eat huh? Or if I'm asking which they want, I say something like bread huh? And it kind of sounds like I'm saying bread huh? Like H-U-H question mark in English. I have found myself saying it to people outside of my home and they get it. And there we have it. I'm reclaiming my language through the question marker. Yay! Talk about miracles. And that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed and tune back in for the next episode in 2 weeks. Our topic will be family and relatives. Nadedishta, shu and halni, ashtu, humchi.